Hey, everybody, we're live, and in the moment now, the Oakland Unified School District will start its press conference update on the Oakland teachers' strike from its perspective. Right. Yeah. Are you okay? Whew.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for your patience. We will be starting here just momentarily. Just want to make sure we're getting everybody situated. And just so you know, I'm John Sasaki, Communications Director for the school district. In a moment, our board president, Mike Hutchinson, will be speaking. We will, once we reach a point of question and answers, for President Hutchinson, we will. You can chat us directly to us your questions, and we can take those there. And I might be able to unmute you as well to ask your questions directly. So just give us another minute or two. I apologize. I'm running this from my phone. My computer is not functioning properly on Zoom currently. All right, and I am going to record this as well, just so everybody knows.
Recording in progress.
Ashley, if I may ask my colleagues from the district.
I'm recording, John.
Okay, great. And I will tell everybody that we are going to allow media to record this right now as well. All right, great. Okay, let's see. And Director Hutchinson, if you would, President Hutchinson, go ahead and bring your video up. And you are free to unmute. Once you're ready.
Yes, I think I'm ready.
Okay, let's see. Hang on a second. I don't see you. Does anybody else see President Hutchinson?
Yeah, I see him.
Let me just make sure we're good here.
We see him, John.
Oh, you do? Okay, great.
We can see him.
Okay, fantastic. All right, well, President Hutchinson, take it away, please.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. My name is Mike Hutchinson. I am the Oakland School Board Director for District 4 and currently the school board president here in Oakland. I'd like to begin by expressing my disappointment for where we are today. For context, this is the first time in memory, and for at least 30 years, where OEA has even sought to strike prior to an impasse. This is unprecedented and simply unacceptable for our students and families to be forced into this position during a time when we should instead be focused on planning graduation and end-of-year celebrations. I need to reiterate the fact that the district bargaining team has been at the table. Just last night, our team received and walked through OEA's counterproposal until 1:30 a.m. We appreciate that we have finally received a counterproposal from OEA, and we would also appreciate them coming back to the table. Though it has been reported that we have been the ones missing meetings and not bargaining in good faith, that's simply not accurate, as you can see from the bargaining schedule that we've now released. I also want to reiterate the historic nature of the compensation offer that we've put on the table. We are committed to retaining our teachers through competitively compensating them, and the near $70 million offer, which equals 10% of our general fund we put on the table, is no small feat. Despite some statements to the contrary, I'd also like to reiterate and clarify our position related to common good proposals. While we agree on the principles of the proposal, they simply do not belong in contract language, and we have not authorized any changes to our approach to this position shared last week. Our students need to be back at school immediately, and I cannot make this point more urgently. We need OEA to come back to the table and finish negotiating a tentative agreement with the district. And more than that, we need our schools to be back open, and our students need to receive the instruction that's so greatly needed in our district. So thank you again for showing up today at our press conference. That concludes my statement, and I am available for question and answers. I also want to say our superintendent, of course, is hard at work managing the situation, and she'll have a statement to be released soon, hopefully within the hour as well.
Thank you, President Hutchinson. All right, we will start with Q&A now. We're going to go about 10 minutes, so we're going to wrap up around just after 1 o'clock. And it looks like Zenny Abraham has a question. So go ahead, Zenny, and ask your question. I just ask you to unmute.
I just did. Thank you, John. And hello, President Hutchinson. Thank you so much. A question. The city has the ability to actually assist the school district via implementation of tax increment financing. I wonder if anyone has discussed with the city how it could approach or borrow money. We've done that in the past to help out regarding the matter of infrastructure repairs and improvements, which I understand is a sticking point. Also, KQED reported that you all hadn't met on the weekend, so that's not correct then, right? Technically.
No, there were meetings on the weekend, yes.
Okay.
And when it comes to, we have put almost a $70 million package on the table, again, which represents 10% of our general fund. The sticking points are not what you referred to. On May 3rd, the district gave a comprehensive offer proposal to OEA, and the response was for OEA to declare a strike the next day. And so we have been able to do the work internally in our district to be able to afford this historic offer that's on the table. And what we need now more than anything is for OEA to come back to the table so we can finish negotiations on a comprehensive contract that serves all of us moving forward.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
Great. Thank you very much, President Hutchinson. Thank you, Zenny. Our next question comes from Ashley McBride. If you hang on a second, let me get to you here, and I will unmute you.
Hello.
Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead, Ashley.
Thank you, John. Hi, Director Hutchinson. So in your statement, you said that while OUSD agrees on the principles of the common good demands, you say they don't belong in contract language, and we've not authorized any changes. So does this mean that OUSD is not going to bargain over these common good proposals?
OUSD has been bargaining, and OEA joined negotiations this weekend. So this narrative that there has to be a further authorization to continue negotiations is inaccurate. We've been negotiating for months. The other thing that I really want to state clearly is people throw around the term common goods without clearly defining what it is. Many of the items that I've seen listed as common good are either things that we already have policies and directions for within the district, or there are many items that are contained within the contract, such as mental health services is something that's been negotiated within the contract. And so we have had this standing authorization for negotiations that was first established last fall when we began negotiations. That's what's allowed us to get to this point where we have put a historic offer on the table to our teachers, and we need them to come back and negotiate with us so we can get this deal done.
Thank you very much, President Hutchinson. Thank you, Ashley. And our next question comes from Rob Nesbitt. Rob, if you can unmute, that'd be great.
Hi, Director Hutchinson. I'm Rob Nesbitt from Cron 4. My question is about last week when the state superintendent offered to mediate negotiations. It seemed like both sides welcomed him coming in to mediate. Where do things stand with that? Do you have to make do both sides have to make a formal acceptance of that? Has he already been brought in?
I don't want to speak for the state superintendent. I'll let him and his team speak for themselves. But State Superintendent Tony Thurman has been very supportive to the process over this weekend. but it still did not lead us to an agreement or
you got
really
it done,
continuing negotiations. More than anything else, we need this strike over. I encourage everyone to ask these questions of OEA. Why have they pushed a strike that they claim the district was negotiating in bad faith? Why an unfair labor practice strike? And why did they choose Thursday to begin that strike? And if the claim is that the district has not been negotiating in good faith, and we know that we've had negotiations this weekend, why has this still not been called off?
Great, thank you, President. I did want to echo something that President Hutchinson said earlier, and that is that the district will be releasing another statement later today. It may not be quite as soon as President Hutchinson indicated, probably sometime this afternoon, just to clarify. And our next question will come from Alyssa Neeling. Go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, John. I just have a question related to Ashley's. So we've been hearing similar things, that kind of the authorization issue and whether or not the district has the ability to talk about particular common good proposals. So I hear you in terms of the way that some of these things may be on the table, for example, smaller class sizes, et cetera. But for these other things, for example, housing unhoused students or reparations, are these the types of things that the district is not authorized to have in, or they're out of scope? Can you clarify which exact things are and are not on the table?
It's very hard for me to clarify that from this side. What I can clarify is the authorization that our bargaining team has been given. And so when we wind up just throwing a list of terms against the wall, it makes it very hard to have this conversation. So if we're going to talk about Black reparations, I was the co-sponsor of the resolution for reparations for Black students, which passed in 2021 and has been implemented. So when people are demanding Black reparations, it's very unclear what they're demanding, when I take pride in that we have passed that with this new school board. So items that are outside of the scope of the contract, which are basically compensation and work conditions, are not going to be negotiated. That's been our standing authorization since last fall. We have 6 months of negotiating under these authorizations, and they've allowed us to put this on the table. And my understanding is there were negotiations yesterday on Sunday. And so it is just false to say that there cannot be further negotiations under this authorization. And I understand there are two narratives out there right now, and they both can't be true. And this is one of the problems that we're facing, where OEA has been putting out the message that the district has not been negotiating in good faith. And I'm here to say that that is not true.
Great, thank you, President Hutchinson. Next up, Miguel Cedeno. Please unmute yourself.
Thank you very much, President Hutchinson. Can you explain a little bit about the contingency plan that is currently in implementation at schools? Because we have like this concern about what is happening in the schools and how children are in schooling at that time, and also the cost of this plan.
So are you referring to right now during the strike? What's
exactly?
So right now we are in a very difficult situation. Our teachers have declared a strike due to unfair labor practice without even us reaching impasse in these negotiations. And so currently, with teachers out on strike, what we have to do is use other staff, mainly central staff, to send to our schools to at least provide supervision for the students who are attending. But I want to make it clear that while our teachers are on strike, especially this kind of strike, it means there is little to no instruction happening within our schools. And an unfair labor practice strike is an elective strike. It means they have chosen to go on strike now at this time in this sort of way. And so I would ask OEA to please come back and open up our schools and allow us to finish our school year like our community needs and deserves.
Thank you very much. Our last question comes from Keith Burbank from Bay City News. Go ahead, Keith.
Got it. Thanks. Let me just turn off my video because President Hutchinson, I was just wondering, what, if the strike continues, will the school year end, or will you extend the school year? Or have you had any conversation with with other district officials about whether the school year is going to be extended, or what will happen? Please, thanks.
So I'm still hopeful that we won't get to the point where we have to have those conversations, but we're now in day 3 of this strike, and we don't have a partner at the negotiating table. In order for us to complete a tentative agreement and put a new contract in place, we need OEA back at the negotiating table. We need OEA to call off this strike now. And we have a basic agreement in place for a tentative agreement. The district is always prepared to continue discussing any items. We would love to continue partnering with teachers in the teacher union to find solutions to some of these issues that plague our communities. But right now, we have a teachers union who has declared a strike without even declaring impasse in the negotiations. And in order for us to move forward, we need to be in negotiations. That's the only way we complete a deal. And let me just again stress, conversations have been ongoing. The district has never canceled negotiations, and we are prepared, and the district team is authorized to come to an agreement.
All right, President Hutchinson, thank you very much. Appreciate that. And thanks everybody for joining us. That concludes our press conference. As I said, we will be sending out a further statement from the district a bit later today. So be on the lookout for that. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Well, folks, there's the update and some interesting revelations coming out of that. If you've read, for example, KQED had actually reported that the two sides hadn't met over the weekend, but you heard President Mike Hutchinson absolutely obliterate that idea, which means there's a lot of information out there that isn't getting out in the proper channels in the proper way, unless, of course, we have the benefit of live streams like this, right? But Mike says that there can't be an agreement unless the teachers come back to the table. And he seems to be putting up, and I'm happy to be wrong, this take it or leave it position, which is, hey, look, we've given you this. That's enough. Take it there. And I have to admit, that aspect of Mike's approach, as well as the defensiveness, is surprising to me. I thought that as much as he wanted to be in the position he is in now, that he would be, essentially not like the people who have held his position in the past, if that makes any sense. I thought that he would basically not want to repeat the mistakes that happen when a person has their position, they hold firm to that position, they don't get off their position, and they basically say, hey, look, there's an impasse here. That's what's fascinating to me. It's what appears to me to be a degree of inflexibility on his part at a time when, by all accounts, we're headed toward an economic downturn. The economy has not performed well. It's damaged by the pandemic. Pandemic relief has stopped, which it shouldn't have. And now, essentially, people are being left to fend for themselves, which I think is absolutely ludicrous. And in all of this, you would think that Mike would say, we need for government to do better. And we need to be more responsive and reactive to what the teachers want at this time, rather than making this look like, how all the other strikes have looked, right? That's what I find quite fascinating. I don't know if anyone's seen this on Twitter to get their reactions. I don't know if Keisha's still around. Let me see if she is to get her reaction real quick, because she was in here. Are you here? Are you still there? But I'm going to call see if wants to make a statement or something like that. And hold on a second. I don't know that I had that, or her rather here. Let's see here. Trying to drum up that phone number. Yeah, where is it? Where is that number? Where is that number? Where is that number? And thank you very much for joining me. And very soon enough, I will have, let me try this. That. Conversations. See all. I don't see your number here. Odd. It's funny, it pops up when I want it, and then it doesn't pop up when I need it. You are here. Okay. Let's see here. Call 517. There. That should do it. All right. So any moment we will have, I hope, her call. Because I like to get her view on what's happened, what she just heard. See if my brain is working correctly. Now, yeah. Hey, I just wanted your comment on what you thought about the press conference. Oh, can you hear me? Are you speaking or?
I can hear you.
Okay, yeah. What were your thoughts on it, Keisha?
Well, I didn't catch it till the end.
Yeah, there wasn't much. Yeah, what happened before, I have to apologize to everybody. I didn't realize that I had one screen that I thought was going to open up, not realizing it didn't, and then realizing about 9 minutes into it, but you got the audio part, I believe, from that, and then I shifted over to the visual part to match the audio. So that's, I have to take the hit for that one, but you only really missed the answer to my question and little else.
I think just based off of what I've heard so far, it seems like it was not completely organized, and it's just, I'm surprised because I thought everybody was on one page on this whole strike, but then now hearing, what is it, Mike Hutcherson? Is that how you say his last name?
Yeah.
Hearing his response, that's interesting. Even to the comment that she was just making about him, I think that is a very interesting take. And so I think that the issue for me also too is I put on Twitter that for school age parents that are receiving federal, state, well, I don't know if it's federal, state, but state funding from like 4Cs or Bananas or something like that, for they'll pay for like kids after school care for maybe parents that are low income or parents that work full time or college students. And so they'll pay daycare facilities or after school cares for schools or however. And then when the kids are out of school, when there's no school, they'll pay for a full day because, whether their parents is still at college full time or work. Now there's an issue with that because of the strike, due to the fact of the state is now telling the providers that are receiving the funds for 4Cs or Bananas that they are refusing to pay for school-aged kids that should be in school because of a strike. They don't care about a strike. So that puts parents and college students at a risk, because COVID it's not COVID like that anymore. I mean, COVID's still out there, but they don't care about, our jobs is going to say, still go to work. We're not going to let you out because OUSD decided they wanted to strike. And so that's a whole nother issue now, is now parents are saying, so we stay at home with the kids or we take the kids to work. Like, that doesn't work that way if you are receiving certain funding. And some people can't afford to just come out their pockets to pay for somebody to keep their kids.
Right.
So that's something that I have friends who are providers that receive those fundings from the state. And that was a message that I got this weekend, that now the state is refusing to even pay, because the Four C's and Bananas is under the impression that although the school is on a strike, that there's still substitute teachers. But my kids go to OUSD, and I was told directly from their teachers to do not let the kids come to school at all. There's nobody at the school. So when I heard Mike say that there's some people at these schools, that's not what they're telling parents.
Wow.
You know, so that's you know, I've even gotten messages on thanking me not sending my kids. You know, so, and I'm not the only parent that's receiving this. You know, other parents are receiving this as well. And so I think it's crazy. I don't understand why OUSD is always the only school district constantly going on strike. Again, this takes me back to what I've tweeted about and what I've talked about with other Oakland residents is the quality of life in this city is very difficult. Just trying to raise children here, it's just always a disruption in everything, it seems like. And so and some people that are from Oakland, or some people that just moved to Oakland maybe 10, 15, 20 years ago, for someone, well, I would say people who are not from Oakland, a lot of times when I tweet about those things on Twitter, people that aren't from Oakland but been here for 20, 30 years will say, oh, you're just being ungrateful. And it's like, no, it's the truth. You know, you got disruption with the school district. You have disruption with crime going on. It's just all over the place. And I'm just shocked that the teachers in the school district, I thought the school board and everybody, until this press conference, until you put it out, Zinni, I thought they were all on one accord. That's literally what I thought.
Yeah.
So this is fairly new to me. So I have to rewatch it from top to bottom, but that's the impression that I was underneath.
You know, again, Mike Hutchinson put out something on Facebook, I guess it was last week, where he was saying to something out there, a person, to stop attacking him essentially in social media, and in total, and I may be able to find his Facebook page and repeat it. In fact, I think I will momentarily, because I'm trying to now process what I read on his Facebook page with what I heard him say and how he said it. And now I've got to re-review it because it's causing me to be a bit concerned. And he may have stopped it. I'm not sure, but
well, you know, one of the things that I'm not enjoying, we all have, and it's since this new administration, and it's not just a Shane Tao thing. It's the new administration, a lot of them, majority of them. But she's a part of it, but still new administration. That it's just so like, it doesn't feel like there's a quality of politics, and it just doesn't seem like there's a quality of professionalism at all. It's just very, I would say, ratchet. It's very urban right now. And I have gotten into it with a lot of people. Just the way people respond. Everybody can have their opinion, but the things that people are saying to one another, that can turn into something that can go left really fast. I'll put it that way. Even when I tweeted about the whole, you know, school age families, parents that's working or in college is at a standstill because of the strike. Somebody tweeted back to me, well, I'm at home, so it's not the end of the world. And my thing is that, you hear mines in the background. Mines is that, my issue is that it seems like a lot of these people that are, and I'm not shaming unions, because my mother was a part of the unions when I was growing up. Of course, it was different back then than now. But a lot of people, it seems like, from what I can observe, that are a part of these unions, they don't really work, or they're getting paid through the union to kind of just do whatever, you know, they want them to do. Whereas a lot of other people got to go to work, you know? So it's like, you guys are doing these strikes and doing all this stuff, and it's like, people are still going to work and going to school.
Right.
And so I'm just surprised that this was not all on one accord, which shows it's another sign of a failure with this new movement of this new administration.
I found. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go
And
ahead.
so go ahead.
No,
Go ahead.
you finish your statement. I just don't want to make. I don't want to make sure you're getting in what you say. Continue
Oh
that.
yeah. But I'm just saying it's showing. It's constantly showing a lot of these things that are just a whole bunch of not everybody not being fully on one accord.
Mm-hmm.
It's starting to show the failure of this new administration, their movement, and their agenda. It's just showing so many pocket holes.
Yeah.
And as they were excited that they were going to, run the city a whole lot better, it's not looking that way. And we're not even 6 months in. And so it's not a good sign right now.
This is what he wrote. I found what Mike Hutchinson wrote on Facebook, and I highlighted it here, and now I'll expand it here. And I'll read it. If I enlarge it any more, I think it's going to pop away because of the way the algorithm was not behaving properly. But I'll go back to Facebook and I'll read it. This is on his Facebook page, and it was posted 4 days ago, and it reads like this. Some of y'all have gone too far this time. Most of you I considered allies. A lot of you, my family, has gone out of our way to help. Some of you I even thought of as friends. I then broke bread with nearly all of you. You torched that bridge a while ago and have worked hard to set me up as the adversary. I knew this day was coming. I called it and called you on it. Even though I've heard the noise, I've ignored all the attacks on me. But when you attack, it's my job to fight. The truth is a powerful thing, and I always have receipts. I worked hard to earn my reputation and standing. A part of me is happy that I can finally tell the world what's really been going on. Although y'all seem to have drank the Kool-Aid, some of you, at least one time, knew me well enough to know how I get down. I was built for this. Step wisely, #town business. I don't think he should have.
The town business thing. That's all I'm gonna say.
Well, I'll say this though. I think he could have gone without that. He's the president, and at some point, you have to say, all right, this is the activist me, and then when you're president, this is the me that's responsible for government. And what I've been observing is a lot of people who are getting elected, particularly those who prize labeling themselves as like a progressive or whatever, they don't know how to turn that off. You know?
Right. And there's no polishing. One of the things I told Lauren Taylor a long time ago, when I came back here, when I moved back, because I was living in SoCal for almost 10 years, because I went out there for college and to do media and PR and communications. And then I moved back to Oakland back in 2018 because my mother and grandfather was terminally ill at the same time, and they died 9 months apart. And so I came back here, and then I kind of just started, kind of got sucked into doing things in the community in Oakland because it was just really out of control. So I'm here right now. And I told Lauren, I said, when I left from here at 18 years old, and I was gone, I'm 30, 31 now. I don't mind telling my age. When I left here and then I came and I was gone, I had gotten really polished in how I do things. And when I would fly back and forth to Oakland, I would kind of feel like it was just, I was a different woman. And I told him, I said, now that I'm back living here full time, I'm like, I want to fight somebody every single day. I'm like, I feel completely unpolished. I just feel like I'm a ratchet person now. Like, and I feel like people who never knew me before, that's just now meeting me now, haven't gotten the full scope of who I am, because it just feels like it's the environment.
It sounds like you're under siege. You're under siege, right?
Right. And the environment has literally changed the way I just maneuver. And I know people say you're not supposed to let your environment change you, but when you're living, sleeping, breathing in foolishness every single day, and then I'm raising kids here, that's different. It was different if it's just me. But I have kids and business and all that. It's a lot going on. And so for me, if I was to run, there's a lot of people always tell me I should run for something later on down the road. If I was, one of the things I'm going to have to do, and I'm humble enough to say it, is that I have to go back and get repolished, because Oakland will really, it would, if you don't have anybody good in your corner and somebody that's helping you and somebody that's kind of standing in front of you and not you handling everything, Oakland will have you out here looking crazy. When it's really not you, it's really the people bull crap.
Yep.
And I think that's the problem that's going on and I think some people, some of the progressives, not all of them, but some of them have this notion that, well, I'm woke and I'm keeping it real. We can keep it real, and down to earth, but there's a certain polished way. And I know as of right now, I am completely unpolished. The gloves are off for me. And they can be off for me now because I'm not in the office, but I think that's what's going on as well.
Keisha, can I ask you, do you think that the constant pronouncement of being woke or aware, which is more than justified given acts like George Floyd murder, I mean, you can go on and on and on, even up to recent days or today, where a white man was arrested for basically threatening to kill people who look like you and me, and then had a horse's head in his Las Vegas hotel room? Anyway, fortunately, this man is behind bars. But my point is, with all that, I get the idea, but at some point, when you are running government, when you go from running for office, from being a politician to being the person in charge, what bothers me is that they keep up the rhetoric, and it begins to sound to me like a way of saying, hey, I really don't get this government stuff and how to make things work, but I'm going to keep on my protestations to let you know that I'm at least keeping it real and I'm paying attention to it. But the reality is they're in the driver's seat and they don't know how to drive the car.
Right. Right.
That's what.
And I agree. I look at the whole the definition of woke and how it is now versus when my grandparents, who migrated from Mississippi way before I was even thought of, before my mom was even born, they migrated from Pantherburg, Mississippi to West Oakland. They were what I would consider woke. And how I was taught and raised, I mean, Black history was taught very well in my household. The definition of woke back then, we didn't even have to say we were woke. We didn't have to say we were pro-Black. We've seen it.
Right.
And but there was also an accountability piece.
You're woke by birth.
Right. And now woke seems like there is, you owe me everything. There is no accountability. I can punch you in your face. I can steal from you. I can do all these things because of whatever happened to my ancestors.
Right.
So I feel like I can do that. When some of this stuff the things that happened to my grandparents, them has never happened to me. Now I've had racism things, but I have not went through the horrible things like they did.
Right.
So, and I also feel like, there's a disconnection with this woke movement now, because all of our ancestors, they've done the woke movement without saying it. They put the foot in the footprints, basically. They've done the work. We shouldn't even still be marching right now. Why are we marching? We've already done that.
Right.
We have education at our fingertips where they had to fight for that. Some people died to be able to read and write and get information. We have the information. They literally sacrificed for us to be in a position right now to where we don't even have to do some of the things they did. And right now, when I look at Oakland politics, a lot of some of the politicians are tourist politicians, is what I call them. They're not even from here. Not saying that you not saying you can't be from Oakland and make a change in Oakland. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying that, but what I've seen is a pattern of people that are not from here that use Oakland as a stepping stool to get to their next level of whatever political office or space they want to be in. So they're not really engaged in moving the culture in this city. And a lot of
Jerry Brown is the most popular example of that, actually. Because he came in, I believe, 92, moved from his firehouse in San Francisco, bought the warehouse on 2nd and Harrison, started We the People, and then around 94, it became clear that he was going to run for mayor, and then did in 98, and well, really started in 97, you know, getting to know people like myself, because Jacques Bargagi really got his tentacles into me and was taking me to lunch and peppering me with all these kind of questions, and then basically turned on me once he got Bauer, fact. And he did that. They did that to a lot of people. And then once Jerry got his second term, and after he was done with that, he went to become Attorney General. Got that. Still remained living in Oakland, but kind of gradually moved out of Oakland, and then got a governor again, which I wholeheartedly endorse. I always said that Jerry Brown's rightful position in California was as governor. Period. You know. But he's the greatest example. Or there are other people who showed up here, I think in 2007, and they established a beachhead talking about anti-police matters, and went from there. So you're right, you know, but they don't call on, as a whole, the people like myself who've been here for decades.
Yeah, they don't.
No, they don't. They feel like,
and they don't want. They feel like a lot of the progressives that are now in office or is around people that's in office, they don't want to sit down and have any conversations with the elderly community. A lot of times they feel like, you know, the elderly people in the community.
Oh, wait a minute! I'm officially part of the elderly community.
Say that part again.
I said, wait a minute! I'm officially a part of the elderly community.
No, but no. But I'm just saying. But I'm saying, like, I've noticed that. I loved my grandparents. So me growing up, I was always around a lot of people that were way older than me. Just the elder community. Elder community doesn't mean 70s and 80s. It's just, you know, once you get in your 50s, you're part of that. It's fine.
I'm 60. Thanks.
Well, you're fine. It's once you approve for the AARP, you're part of that community, and that's fine. But I noticed that, like, me being born and raised from the city, I'm not that old, so I don't know every single thing. A lot of the things that I have learned was from people that were older than me. And what I've noticed is when I go to meetings or I'm interacting with people in the community, a lot of people that are in their 50s and above, they get just pushed out, like, oh, those people are just bitter, they're just mean and old, and, you know, don't listen to them. And so now it's just like people are just running the city however they want to.
You got all the 50.
Hey,
Keisha, you got all the 50 and 60-year-olds like ignited here.
I'm sorry. No, I'm not. But I'm saying
cool.
it from a respectful level.
No, it's cool.
I'm not saying it from like calling you old and you got a cane. No.
I did use a cane today, 2 of them, I might add. My hip is killing me, man.
Well, I like I said, I moved back here to take care of my 80-year-old something grandfather. So I have a lot of respect for people.
But I'll tell you this, I'm still pretty.
Yeah, you probably more in shape than some of the people my age. You know, the newer generation is bodies aren't the same. Bodies is in the 70s and they're 18 right now. They're popping pills and everything else.
Nice recovery.
And that's the truth. So, but yeah, I think that I just think that I'm just seeing a really big, huge, it's just chaos. And I don't think, while some of the progressives, some of their supporters are very arrogant about, you know, okay, you have the DA position, you have the mayor position, you have some of the council seats. They're trying to get Barbara Lee's seat. Well, Barbara Lee was a progressive too, but she was a different type of progressive.
Yeah.
But you know, they're trying to keep that as, you know, progressive, but a little bit more progressive than I would say Barbara Lee was. I just don't think that after once the new election time, when that comes through, I just don't think they're gonna get full seats like this again. Because it's just way too much chaos. And this is not even me saying it because I don't call myself a progressive. I don't like all the names. But it's just the truth, you know. When we can't get to 6 months in and it's chaos everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It's everywhere, you know. We don't have any leadership in our public safety. from the police station to the fire department. It's just all over the place.
Yep.
And I've seen people mention that, people are trying to figure out if the fire chief, resigned because of the budget. In my opinion, I don't think that's really what it was. I'll just say I think it was other things. And I'll just say that he was a very intelligent man. Very intelligent. He came from I can't think of exactly the place where he came from, but a place similar to Oakland. He's far from stupid. And he knows, he knows. I'll just say he knows. So I don't think it maybe could have had something to do with budget. I don't know. I just think that, a peace of mind is best.
Let me ask you as we come to a close. How long do you think this strike is going to go on for?
I don't know. Me and my friend talked this morning, and I told her, I said, do you think that they're going to strike until the end of the school year? Because it's only, 2 weeks left? I don't know, because what are they trying to get? Just more? I heard they're trying to get more pay, but is it more other things going on?
Yeah, they're trying to get the schools fixed quickly. That's why I asked Mike Hutchinson early on about if they had used the city to improve, use tax increment financing to improve the schools. And Mike said that Keisha, Mike said that my question had nothing to do with the problem. But you know what I did? I quoted from KQED, and one of the teachers that they interviewed said that, and I said, "Oh, infrastructure. There you go." Right? Because I hadn't heard that, but apparently that's the issue. But that's why I made the comment about how Mike seemingly had changed, where he got into this position of power and became more like the people I don't think he ever wanted to be to begin with. And go ahead.
Well, just to speak to the infrastructure, the infrastructure, like if I was in control, before I even raised the teachers' salaries, I would definitely be after the infrastructure of the schools. My personal experience, my kids are in OUSD. My kids came home with norovirus, like literally 3 months straight. And it drove me crazy. With the norovirus, you can't, it doesn't matter if you have hand sanitizer, it doesn't work. It has to be completely bleached. It's airborne. It's crazy. And so they kept coming home with this virus. And I was like, what's going on? So I was asking the school, like, is it something they're eating? Because sometimes they would want to eat lunch at school, which I don't really like the school district's food, but sometimes they want to eat with the other kids, and so I won't send them with a lunch. And I was informed by the principal, once I researched how the norovirus is transferred and all of that, one of the things it talks about is a bad water piping system. And they can get it from water. And so when I sit on one of the boards at my kids' school, and I talked to the principal, and I said, my kids keep coming home with this virus, and I said it's really driving me crazy. And she said, and I told her how it was, how it can get passed on, and she said, "Oh, well, can you write me an email that I could send to the district and to the city?" Because she said that their bathrooms have been shut down, where they only had one side of the school that a bathroom worked. They didn't have any sinks that was working for the kids to wash their hands.
Oh my Lord.
The piping is actually very horrible. And so that is how my child was bringing it home.
Yeah.
And most parents, if your child just comes home sick, not all the time are you going and researching what it is, but I kept taking my kids to the doctor, and I'm like, what the heck is this virus? Like, this is
That's
crazy.
scary, right? And something, what you just said causes me to add this. Mike said that they wanted to commit 70 million ostensibly to the matter of infrastructure. I didn't get a clarification, but given the context of what I asked, that's what he said. My response is 70 million is not enough. And that's the other thing with this group. It doesn't matter, and I mean group, I mean in terms of people who want to label themselves progressive. They, and the conservatives are the opposite too, which is, equally annoying. My point is, they will tell you, hey, we've committed, like, let's say the Housing is Key program for rental assistance. Statewide, they said, well, we put up $4 billion, but they never stopped to tell you that the problem is actually $9 billion problem. Okay. And so basically, actually, it's more like $15 billion problem. And so they undercapitalize the effort. But what we as Democrats are doing in the California context is we're telling other Democrats, hey, we've given you money, so don't ask us for anything because that's it. As opposed to saying, okay, we understand what the universe of need looks like. We can finance this much now and the rest later. That's an honest explanation. But right now, it's more like they're just throwing money at problems, which is what we as a party have been accused of doing, historically. But the problem is so acute. The problems plural are not getting fixed.
Right.
That's that.
Right. And I agree. And then the other thing is and to my point about, some of the school closings and things like that, and some people aren't too a fan of my opinion on it, and I don't care. But when I look at OUSD as a whole and I start researching, I understand they don't want to close down schools. I understand the argument behind that. But when I look at how the children are being failed for decades, and decades, and they're at these schools that they are trying to close, or you just looking at all the infrastructure issues and just the quality of life and the quality of their education is not even meeting even an average standard for these kids. Why are we still paying for those schools?
Right.
Right. And to me, when people are being progressive and saying, yeah, don't shut down the schools, I'm looking at, okay, they don't have proper water system. They don't have a proper cafeteria. The foods that are being given to all of our kids at OUSD is the same, vendors that vendor jail foods. We don't have a proper lunch system. The schools are, I'm just looking at the quality. So where do we go? And so I've heard some people argue that had they shut down some of the schools that they wanted to shut down, that maybe there would have been some type of money. And I don't know if that's true or not, because I haven't looked into that. There would have been some extra money to kind of deal with what's going on at this moment because of the strike. I don't really know about that part, because I would have to look into it myself. But for me, just the quality of education and the quality of life at OUSD schools is not meeting the standards for a lot of our children. And that's the key thing. So while the teachers are advocating for, we want more money and we want this, we want that, what's going on with these kids' test scores and all of these different things that's going on?
That's an excellent question.
And that's not a popular opinion for a lot of people, because they feel like I'm just like shut down the schools, and I'm not a big charter school fan at all. That's another issue.
Well, I'm going to have to let that be the last comment, Keisha, and we'll pick it up later as a topic. But hey, everybody, I want to thank you for joining me. And thank you, Keisha. If you don't mind, I'm going to break out your statement and make a separate video, because it's all got everybody lit up. Thank you, as you are expert at doing, because you're right there at ground level in so many different ways. And as Ed said, I get it. Ms. K, demographics is key. It's not by habit, but by design. And then Mag Primp says, as a teacher for 29 years, I can say, beware privatization of public. Also, a lot of students just don't care. But we'll leave it at that, folks. We go on about this for quite a while. Stick around, Keisha. That ends this broadcast, folks. Subscribe to Zenny62, bookmark oaklandnewsnowblog.com, zenny62.com, and oaklandnewsonline.com. That ends this broadcast. Thank you.